Overnight, North Wales, North Midlands, Northern England could see some absolute whoppers, causing all manner of impacts. And then on Sunday, the chance of some further heavy downpours into Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales before all that clears away, and a changeable week next week, but feeling fresher.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash, so make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christys tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lovely to see you all. Brilliant. All right, here we go. Well, hello, everybody. It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight, so, are Palestine Action a terrorist organisation? What do we think in this room here? Yes. OK, and? The Iranian Ayatollah's henchmen attacked Britain today. Plus?
The ice to the right, 314. The nose to the left, 291.
OK, where do people stand on assisted dying? Is people in favour of it? No? Yes. Mixed bag. I thought it would be a mixed bag. It's going to be a great topic for us to discuss that. Also... So, believe it or not, a primary school taught kids about the, get ready for this, 300 flags of pride. So we're going to see how many people can name in this room a bit later on. And...
Should men offer their seat to women on a busy train? No. We also heard one very manly voice there saying no. All right. On my panel tonight, we have former Tory MP Jane Stevenson. We have got the Labour MP for Brent West, it's Barry Gardner. Oh, come on. There we go, that's better. We have got political commentator Charlie Downs. And it's broadcasting royalty, the one and only Christo Fufas. We need to ban Palestine action. Next.
Very good evening to you. The top story tonight at 9. History made. That is how campaigners have reacted as MPs narrowly backed a landmark-assisted dying law for England and Wales. The bill allowing terminally ill adults to end their lives with medical sign-off passed earlier in the Commons by just 23 votes.
The ayes to the right, 314. The noes to the left, 291.
Well, cheers, tears and hugs filled Westminster as supporters called it a victory for compassion.
We won!
One MP described the current law as forcing people to die in secret or die abroad. But critics warn it's a dangerous step if the law is rushed through without proper safeguards. And they say it's been driven by emotion over evidence. The bill now heads to the House of Lords with any change unlikely before 2029. The UK has pulled staff from its embassy in Iran as a precaution amid fears the Israel-Iran conflict could escalate still further. It follows fresh Iranian strikes on Israel just this afternoon, while Israel confirmed it hit missile manufacturing sites in Tehran overnight. The UK, France and Germany are meeting, or have been meeting, Iran's foreign minister in Geneva earlier in an urgent bid to de-escalate. It comes as Donald Trump is expected to decide within 2 weeks whether the US will take direct military action. Well, just moments ago, Donald Trump himself has said that Iran is weeks or months away from building a nuclear weapon. He claims Europe is powerless to stop it. Speaking in New Jersey, he has just told reporters, quote, Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe, they want to speak to us. He cast doubt on today's Geneva talks, saying they didn't help, and warned it's hard to ask Israel to hold back from its strikes against Iran. And he's also hit back at his own Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, rejecting her claim there's no evidence that Iran is developing a weapon.
My intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong. It's very hard to stop when you look at it. Israel's doing well in terms of war, and I think you would say that Iran is doing less well. It's a little bit hard to get somebody to stop.
In other news, London is bracing for a day of high-stakes protests yet again as tensions over that Middle East conflict are set to spill onto the streets tomorrow. Thousands are set to rally under the Palestine coalition, marching to Downing Street, with speeches set from Jeremy Corbyn and Paloma Faith. Pro-Israel group Stop the Hate will meanwhile stage a counter-protest nearby, declaring now is our turn to stand proudly in solidarity. Police are enforcing strict protest conditions, though, warning demonstrators to stick to set routes or face arrest. Well, it comes as the Home Secretary is moving to ban Palestine action after activists sabotaged RAF jets in Oxfordshire overnight. Footage posted online showed activists inside the base, one riding a scooter and spraying paint into a jet engine. Yvette Cooper is set to prescribe the group under the Terrorism Act, making it a criminal offence to support them. The move follows a counter-terror investigation into the incident. Parliament, though, will need to approve the ban before it comes into force. Well, our Homes and Security editor Mark White has spent the day outside the Ministry of Defence for us.
Palestine Action say the reason they breached security at Bryce Norton and damaged the aircraft is because they claim those aircraft were being used in support of the Israeli military, something officials here at the MOD have said is absolute nonsense. Now, these engines are going to have to be stripped and cleaned out. It's likely to be a costly exercise, and there's also a review of how security was breached in such a way that these activists were able to get airside and cause such damage in the first place.
And just before I hand you back to Patrick, let's check in again on those remarkable scenes from Hawaii where jets of lava more than 1,000 feet high have been erupting from Kilauea volcano, one of its most explosive episodes so far this year. That recent eruption began late on Thursday night and has been intensifying in recent hours, with fountains you can see there lighting up the sky, triggering, in fact, an increased seismic activity in the area. There was also a volcanic plume rising 15,000 feet into the air. Experts say lava remains contained in the summit crater for now, but they are warning potential hazards could emerge. It's Kilauea's 26th lava episode since just December, making it one of the most active volcanoes in the world. That's it from me for now. I'll be back with the headlines at 10. Now, though, it's over to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Tremendous to see so many people here. Well, today, Britain was attacked by a rabid, far-left, pro-Palestine mob. Palestine Action broke into RAF Bryce Norton, spray-painted a British military plane. Well, it's the same Palestine Action who've done stuff like this before as well, breaking into warehouses, damaging property. They're a menace, basically, aren't they? And Keir Starmer refused to name the problem, OK, put a tweet out. He thinks that breaking into a British military site and damaging a plane that was apparently next to the one that our royal family sometimes fly in is just a bit of vandalism. That's what it is. Just a little bit of vandalism. That's what it is. Nigel Farage, however, thinks it's terrorism and that they should be classed as terrorists. Robert Jenrick appears to think exactly the same. So, should Palestine Action really be banned as a terrorist group? Well, in the last few hours, it appears that it might be happening. So they are set, according to reports, they are set to be prescribed. Slight problem this, because Keir Starmer must be doing this through gritted teeth, right? Because it turns out, just a little bit of digging, he defended an activist who broke into an RAF base to set fire to an aircraft, right? Starmer argued that it was because he wanted to stop a war crime. If he'd have won that case, which thankfully he didn't, but if he had won that case, what happened today would have been perfectly legal, right? It's interesting, isn't it? Because when you look at events like this and others, normally, somewhere along the line, either our Prime Minister or his mate, the Attorney General, have represented the wrong one, haven't they? But there we go. Let's go over to my panel now and my live studio audience. Again, just want to get a feeling for the room. So, most people in here, do you think that Palestine Action should basically be classed as terrorists? Yes. Is that where we're at? OK, well, I'll start with you, Christo. Are they terrorists, this lot, do you think?
I think if any group that is protesting crosses over into violence in an organised manner in the way in which they have, then they are a terrorist group. I have no issue with someone wanting to protest because they're angry about what is happening in Israel and Gaza. You may agree, you may disagree, but that is what we're allowed to do in this country. But I think if you consistently do that, as they have regularly, including acts of violence, that then crosses over into the definition of a terror group. It's simple.
Jane, your views?
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you attack a member of our armed forces or a military facility, you attack every person in this room and every person in this country. Those men and women are not politicians. They are the wrong people to be protesting at. And the protocols that will have kicked into action means weapons would have come out. Those people were at risk of being injured or killed. Live weapons will have been used. and I'm just glad that none of our service personnel was injured, but they should be proscribed group. There are menace to society. They're traitors.
And also, can we talk about the security breach?
Well,
I mean, imagine
Yes.
that it was actually a terror group that had much more ill intent, as in wanting to attack the base, you know, with weapons or anything else. It's absolutely staggering they got in so easily.
Well, it is, and out again as well. And we're going to go to my audience. The first question, is it Eddie? Yeah. Where are you from, Eddie?
Yeah, Eddie, I'm from Newbury in Berkshire.
Lovely part of the world. What did I say, Eddie?
Yeah, what I'd like to say is these pro-Palestine activists now, they've gone too far with what they've done at Bryce Norton. They should be done for terrorism, because that's what it is. And quite frankly, with all these pro-Palestine marches and demonstrations in London, most of the British public have had enough of it now. They need to go and wave their Palestine flags in Palestine. We've just had enough of it. If I was to go up to Westminster now and wave a Union Jack or the St George's Cross or whatever, yeah, I would be done for it. There'd be criticism and everything. Wow. And the other thing, as the gentleman said, about the security at Bryce Norton, that needs to be addressed as well. They should never have got on the runway. I mean, I've got home security at home, and since I've been up here even tonight, there's like, even if a cat goes on my garden, bang, an alert goes off. So what's happening with the security at Bryce Norton? That needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, as well, to be fair, I mean, countries like Iran or whoever are going to be looking at that and thinking, if it's that easy to get onto a British military base, then we are bang in trouble. Thank you very much, sir. Well done. Barry, I'm going to put this to you now. So, would you think that they should be a proscribed terrorist group? It seems like they are going to be.
Look, they're clearly criminals. They've done criminal damage. They've trespassed on a restricted base, military base. I don't know that they terrified anyone. And I don't know that any of their activities in the past has been designed to terrorise individuals. So I don't think it's been violence against individuals. Now, I don't have...
So you don't breaking into a British military base is terrorism, just to be clear?
On its own, I remember the women of Greenham Common about 40 years ago broke onto the base then. I don't think anybody was going to call them terrorists. They were activists. They were peace activists. But
the people on the base didn't know what these people were going to do.
They've also smashed up businesses and done all of things like that.
And they're criminals. For doing that, they're criminals. There's no question about it. Look, if the Home Secretary, who I understand is looking at it at the moment, says that fits our definition of terrorism as under the legislation, then fine. But I do think we need to just distinguish the fact, as Christo was saying, that they have a right to protest, but they must do it peacefully and within the law.
OK. Go on, come back.
Mate, they've attacked our planes.
It's a criminal offence.
It's more than a criminal offence. It's terrorism. Those planes now have got to go out of service. We're having all this going on in the Middle East at the moment. Those planes have got to go out of service. And they've got to, be stripped. Their engines have all got to be checked and stuff.
Absolutely.
And that's going to cost, the taxpayer as well, isn't it?
But that in itself is not causing terror amongst people. Terrorism is, you know what we usually define as terrorism. When somebody goes onto the streets with a knife or a gun and starts shooting indiscriminately, we all say, that's terrorism. It's violence against the person because it's designed to spread fear, alarm and terror. That's
and I live by Greenham Common. And I remember the peace women up there. I don't remember them attacking or damaging planes.
They did, actually.
I don't remember that.
They broke through the wall and they started hammering on top of
I suppose the concern is, if they're willing to do this now on top of the things they've already done, then what are they going to do next? Is it best to nip it in the bud? I am at pains to stress that in 2004, when our now dear Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, represented a man who did something very similar, he, of course, had to do it because of the cab rank rule, and we need to make that very clear. However, is that actually a massive problem, Charlie, that the Prime Minister has represented people like this?
Well, him and his friend Lord Hermer seem to consistently side with all the enemies of Britain. But with that being said, I mean, I broadly agree with everything that's been said about Palestine action so far. Some debate show this is. But I do also think that this organisation does actually have a point, OK? Because what they protest is Britain's involvement in the war in the Middle East. And I personally agree with that. I don't think we should be involved. And I do think that there are some hideous war crimes taking place in Gaza right now. And I think the idea that the British states should be, should be supporting financially and with arms some war in Iran between Israel and Iran.
Politicians, not armed forces personnel. That's very
sure. No, I agree with that. But what Palestine Action has done by engaging in the activities that they have is they have made that cause look illegitimate because they have engaged in criminal activity to try and push their cause, which actually I think, as a whole, does the movement and the cause damage.
Is there anyone else, just to say, is there anyone else who would like to make a point on this? If you do want to, wave your hand up. We'll try and get the microphone over to you in a second. But Christy, you made the point there as well about it. The fact is, this is a massive security breach. We have been embarrassed here. That is a prime military base, a very important military base, and people who were basically on e-bikes and scooters were able to just wander in, do what they did in the dead of night, and then get out of there as well. Remarkable.
And also just get so close to the planes and do what they wanted to them. I mean, what if they'd gone in and got out and done something to the planes which no one had noticed? Those planes were then used. It's absolutely catastrophic. But I do disagree with the gentleman on the front row, because I get it. It's really, really irritating every single weekend when you see a lot of these protests constantly. However, that is part and parcel of people's democratic right to protest. And as long as they're not being violent or inciting violence, we have to stomach it. It's when they disrupt you going about your business, act in a violent manner, or vandalise stuff. That's when it crosses the line.
There's also a slightly two-tier aspect to it as well, Jane, I think, which is that if people were for some kind of, like, quotes-unquote, Patriots March, and they were wandering down the street and they were saying things that could be deemed as racist or supporting a far-right terror group, I've got no doubt that the police would go in there and lift them. Whereas what we tend to see most every other weekend, or whenever a lot of the pro-Palestine lot happen, is exactly that behaviour and very few arrests.
Probably, and I still remember in lockdown we had the Black Lives Matter protests and the police were so light on it. We had members of the Labour Party going out and joining the protest, which was against the rules that we'd all passed.
The Prime Minister photographed taking the knee as well.
Yes.
In support.
Yeah, but I think you're right. But I think in this case,
can I just
go
on? I've just remembered that actually, in going onto a restricted site like the base is an offence under the Protection Against Terrorism Act.
Right.
So in that sense, because if you go onto Parliament illegally and break into Parliament, that also is under the Offences Against Terrorism. So I think, strictly speaking, yes, they probably are terrorists.
OK, fair enough, we'll see. But I did also... Oh, there you go. Hold on. Bet you're upset you booed him at the start now, aren't you? But,
Savour that applause, Barry. You won't get another one.
OK, all right, I'm being told that we have to break, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but there's loads more to come when we come back, because the age-old north-south divide... Again, feel through it. Who's here from the north? God, you'd be a bit louder than that. You're from the north. You're supposed to be raucous. Come on, right, OK. And we've got quite a few southerners in, I imagine, as well. OK, we're not going to be cheering in a minute, because you are going to be... It turns out you're paying for the people of the north, supposedly, to boost so-called deprived regions. But should southerners really be paying? I'll be back in a tick. Stay tuned, everyone. Right.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our viewers and listeners. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to our wonderful live studio audience. If you're at home watching this now, why not just get yourself down here for a bit of Friday night fun? But get ready to pay more council tax, everybody. Not necessarily for your area, though, but for someone else's. So Labour's Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, is pushing what she calls a, quote, progressive new plan to redistribute local authority funding, which is shifting more money from southern councils to struggling cities in the north. She says it's all about fairness, but council leaders down south are sounding the alarm, warning that this could be deeply divisive, punishing areas that manage their budgets well to bail out some that don't. So, we have got a few northerners in, so thank you very much, everyone. Yes, lovely part of the world. But there's a lady on the front here who you are also a northerner, aren't you? From
Originally
Fleetwood.
Fleetwood, Lancashire.
Again, another lovely part of the world. So where are you on this then? Do you think that people in the south should be paying more money to, with respect, do up Fleetwood?
I think it should be more proportionate. There aren't... Up north, the salaries aren't as much as they are in the south. There are more people in the south to raise more money for councils, and I find that there isn't that much difference between how much I pay for council tax now that I'm in London, as opposed to my friends in Lancashire.
Right. OK. So they're basically they're having to make their money go a little bit further. Right. Where are people from on my panel? Johnny, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Kent, so I'm a man of about as south as you can get.
Scott, what do you make of this then? Should he?
Well, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that the north needs investment, right? I'm actually travelling up to Sunderland tomorrow, and I've spent time this year in Sheffield and elsewhere in the north. And I mean, if you walk around these places, it's pretty bleak, like these post-industrial towns. Where, I'm just being honest, and that's not an insult.
Excuse me.
No. I feel
really a good day in Blackpool.
But I feel deeply for these places that have just been left behind, right?
I know what you mean.
By the powers that be, as they have deindustrialised in the 70s, 80s and 90s, and today have been hit so hard by mass immigration.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are places that are, there are broken windows, there is graffiti, litter, everything. These are not, these are places that have been forgotten about. And I think the idea that there needs to be a consistent quality of service when it comes to public services across the country, I think is fair. I think it's reasonable that there should be no places that are, being better served by the government than others. But, raising tax on the south to provide for the north just seems like it's just going to sow division and resentment between the two, right? Because I think the north might feel patronised and the south are going to feel like they're being taken for a ride. And so I think that there are so many other places that we could get this money from, like, for example, the fact that 20% of social housing tenants in England and Wales were born abroad, and half of them do not work. So that's right there, right? That's a very simple source of waste.
Yeah. That's an unfortunate amount of common sense, that, isn't it, really? Because
you talk about it driving division between the South and the North. I don't need council tax to resent the North. Thank you.
What is going on here?
I lived in Leeds for a short time, and it is grim in as much as...
This is ridiculous. I didn't use that word.
I'm not surprised it was a short time if you had that attitude.
Don't get back. There's still wanted pictures of you up there, isn't
The best thing about Leeds was the M1 southbound. No, I really liked it, but a pothole in the road is like the Grand Canyon. Supermarkets have shelves that are empty. There is underinvestment. There is underinvestment in those places. Now, the solution to this is not to charge what is supposed to be a tax that we pay in the South for local services, which goes up, by the way, year after year after year, and we get fewer services. That is not the solution. The solution, as we all know, is to bring back the poll tax. Margaret Thatcher's flagship policy.
Someone loves that.
Thank you very much. Bring back the poll tax. And the reason being that the poll tax was about every single person who was over 18 paying towards public services. It makes absolutely no difference the amount of public services you use, how big your house is. My house size, my house price has nothing to do with the public services I use. It's about over 18s. It's about over 18-year-olds all contributing and making a contribution towards the local area. Why can't we bring that back?
The lady who clapped at the poll tax, do you want to explain why you'd like that? No, you don't have to. She's gone for it. Good. There we go. Why?
She's a very sensible lady.
Why?
The poll tax was out when I left art college. That was my very first bill. I did pay it, but it's a head count of the country. The government knows who's in the country, how many people are paying tax, everything. If everybody uses the utilities, then why shouldn't they pay for them?
Yes. Okay. Why should 4 adults not pay twice as much as 2 adults that live in that same house next door? They're all they're using double the services, double the rubbish. They should pay double.
All right, Barry. This is your dear deputy leader, Angela Rayner, coming up with this idea supposedly to help level up the north. Go on.
Well, can I just say I've never heard such a load of ignorant twaddle in my life. Because
it's not very nice to Charlie. He doesn't go on here very often.
It wasn't Charlie I was referring to.
Thank you, Barry.
Look, what actually happens is 80% of the money that goes to local councils is paid by central government out of general taxation. OK? It's only about 20% that is actually coming from what you pay as the council tax. And over the years, you'll remember Rishi Sunak when he was in Tunbridge Wells in August 22. Beautiful place. What did he say? When I was Chancellor, I took money out of deprived areas in the north.
Not what
yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Well,
Barry.
If you want, I've got the clip here if you want it, because the Guardian got a clip of it, actually a video clip of it.
I've watched the video
anyway,
clip.
What he did was he took the criteria by which you distributed that central government money, and he changed the criteria so that areas which did have a lot of deprivation didn't get as much. Now, that's what he said to the wealthy burghers of, and I did say burghers, Christo, of Tunbridge Wells. OK? Now, so when we're talking about redistribution, what Angela is simply talking about is she's saying, look, if there are people who are in poverty, who are deprived, let's make sure that the need is being met because it's actually central government funding. It's not the South patronising the North, because actually the money is coming from the country.
Are there not other ways to pay for this, like Charlie alluded to?
Can I say one more thing? And that is that it does need...
I've got the Barry Ball buzzer. I'm sorry. No more. You've had enough. Sorry. I'm hitting the Barry buzzer.
Jane, come in. Whilst you talk, Jane, there's a screen over here which tells me where in the country most of our live television viewers are watching, right? So you talk now, and I'm going to find out, and I think you're bang in trouble, Christys, because they're normally from the northwest. So there we go.
I am a very proud West Midlander. I'm from wonderful Wolverhampton. This panel discussion so far has been a little bit Monty Python, like up north and down south. It's just a bit weird. There are lovely areas in the whole country. There are also in the south areas of real deprivation, in leafy areas. So what Barry said about the Tunbridge Wells thing was because deprived areas in the rest of the country were not getting a fair share compared to somewhere like Tower Hamlets that got showered with money. But I think, to me, local council tax is about local accountability for politicians. It shouldn't be that vehicle.
So currently on Freeview, most people who are watching, right, drink this in, Christo, are from the border region, which is the furthest north bit of the UK, right? Followed by the northwest, right, which you just slagged off massively, and then the Midlands. So what you've just got there is they absolutely hate you. They hate you a little bit less, and then they're probably ambivalent towards your own Birmingham. But there we are. Anyway, all right, OK, good stuff, guys. Thank you very much. But, of course, hey, look, I know why you're all really here. It's not to see me. It's not to see us. No, it's because you might be the next winner of our Great British Giveaway. £54,321 in cold, hard, tax-free cash. And here's how you can be in it to win it. There we go.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. Well, it could be yours with our greatest Great British Giveaway cash prize so far. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like, giving you the chance to have a year full of top treats. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. So make sure you're in the draw for another chance to win £54,321 cash. Text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690, Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, so coming up, Britain has a massive problem with foreign criminals and an even bigger problem with getting rid of them. So Pakistan is refusing to take back, basically, its rapists and paedophiles, which I think is an absolute shocker. We're going to have a little chat about how on earth we make them do it. And, of course, that kind of issue has led to riots in Northern Ireland, hasn't it? And we're going to be talking to someone who I think you will all know, who has seen those riots firsthand. So, stay tuned.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The hot air that we've got across the UK on Saturday extends into France and Spain, but the chance of thunderstorms in these areas as well. Also the chance of thundery showers through Greece, but the islands should escape with sunny spells, albeit with a keen breeze. Through Italy, we've got plenty of sunny skies, but the Alps will see some lively weather with showers and thunderstorms, and those showers also affecting parts of Spain. But Portugal seeing largely sunny skies and plenty of sunshine through the outlook period.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Plenty of weather to talk about this weekend. Saturday's another hot day for many, but not for all. And then comes the risk of some lively thunderstorms as fresher air arrives from the west. We've got high pressure still in control as we go into the weekend, but that's shifting east, allowing hot air to be drawn northwards across the UK. Certainly a warm night tonight, despite the clear skies. Temperatures widely holding up in the mid to high teens and in some spots no lower than 20 or 21 Celsius. Chances of some thicker cloud and some showers coming into the southwest by dawn. Otherwise, it's a dry and warm start to the weekend. Those temperatures are soon rising, particularly through the Midlands and eastern England. That's going to be where we'll see the highest temperatures through the day. Some cloud, some low cloud hugging the coast of eastern Scotland. But it's a relatively warm start wherever you are. Now, we do have some cloud arriving into Northern Ireland, and it's in Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, parts of West Wales and the southwest where the first signs of a change are arriving. A chance of some showers coming through, but the main activity really is at the end of Saturday. Ahead of any showers, we keep the strong June sunshine at its strongest. On Saturday, the summer solstice, of course, and that will allow temperatures to rise widely into the high 20s, low 30s across eastern parts of the UK, and could be as high as 34 Celsius, depending on the timing of any cloud and showers arriving from the west. It's going to feel a bit fresher in the west, but still relatively humid. And then we've got these lively thunderstorms moving through overnight. North Wales, North Midlands, Northern England could see some absolute whoppers, causing all manner of impacts. And then on Sunday, the chance of some further heavy downpours into Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales before all that clears away, and a changeable week next week, but feeling fresher.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our viewers and listeners. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Yes, hello everybody, welcome back to my wonderful live studio audience. They are on top form tonight, and I know that they're going to enjoy getting stuck into this topic because two of the worst offenders from the Rochdale grooming gang are exploiting a loophole to stop them being deported. So for years, ministers have tried and failed to get these monsters, Adil Khan and Abdul Qari Rauf, out of Britain. These men were found guilty of just unspeakable crimes, OK? Ringleaders of that grooming gang that devastated lives in Rochdale. They were stripped of their British citizenship nearly a decade ago, and a judge ordered them to be deported. But then what did they do? Well, they shredded their Pakistani passports, and so we would technically be making them stateless if we then deported them to Pakistan. We've appealed this, we've appealed it, we've appealed it, and it turns out there's very little that we can do. And despite losing all of those appeals, they are still here. Why? Because Pakistan is still refusing to take them back. Now, we're told that they could be accepted, but only if we allow Pakistani International Airways to continue, well, to start flying again. So basically, instead of the Pakistani government having a deep sense of shame that they've managed to import a load of paedophiles and rapists to Britain, instead they're using them as leverage so that their airlines can get back here. Remarkable, isn't it? But why on earth are two convicted child abusers still living on British soil? Well, what I wanted to do was obviously talk about this with my panel, talk about this with my wonderful studio audience, but it's issues like this that sow division in communities, issues like this that can, unfortunately, at times, lead to things like riots. And there's one man who works here at GB News who has been doing absolutely stellar stuff from those incidents that were taking place in Northern Ireland. And I would like to welcome everybody, a surprise guest, Doogie Beattie, everybody. Doogie can sit in the throne that we were supposed to sit in all the time. So look, realistically, let's have a little conversation about it. But first, Doogie, I'd just like to ask you, if that's all right, how big a problem is it when you've got people who are basically convicted sex offenders here that the local community know that you can't get rid of? What does it do to local communities?
Well, it demoralises the local community. We've seen this in Northern Ireland. We had a particular ethnic challenge there with the Roma community. They had set up in the centre of Ballymena, and this was social housing. And that social housing was being run by a group called Mears, as most social housing is now, when immigrants are involved. Northern Ireland's slightly more difficult because we have an open border. due to the protocol, the framework document. And Romas are allowed in to the Republic of Ireland because they're part of Europe. So they travel in and then they come across an open border and get all the benefits of the UK. And some of them actually move on straight in to the UK because there's no passports between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK. In fact, some of those that left last week are quite possibly here in England now.
Right.
And you don't know where they are because there was all sorts of criminality being in those streets. There was 2 brothels. There was organised crime, drug gangs. The young ladies that were going out, local girls that were going out to the pubs and so forth in Ballymena, they were on the way home. Were getting tortured by men, you come with me, you know, and they just kept on badgering them down the street till eventually the pub landlords told me themselves footfall had gone. So you have this, there's nothing wrong at that stage. It's not an attack on the community, but the community at this point sees that policing isn't being set aside. Why did they not raid those brothels? Why did they not look to see where criminality was going on? And why were these men that were torturing these young women coming down the streets at night not facing any justice or police intervention? So eventually, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a young girl raped in Ballymena. And then 2 weekends ago, there was a 13-year-old girl who had been allegedly sexually assaulted. And it was quite obvious who did it. So the community was basically going forward to their politicians and stuff and saying, this has to be sorted. This has to be sorted. And there's lots of older people that live in these social housing that bought their houses in the 80s and 90s. And these private landlords around have done these contracts with the government who are paying twice as much to private landlords. So effectively, if you go to hire a house or lease a house in that area, you're effectively bidding against your own government.
Yeah.
And that sets the price of rent up in that area, but it also sets the house prices up in that area. And if the house prices in the bottom are up, everybody else's is up.
Yep.
And 85% of those properties are in socially deprived areas. So the people took to the streets. And out of sheer frustration, violence is wrong. It is definitely wrong. But they'd had enough. And I was surprised to see, I mean, I grew up 70s, 80s, 90s in real sectarian violence in Northern Ireland. And for once, I actually seen 2 sides of the community coming together to put these people out.
Well, it's just remarkable, isn't it? Dee, thank you for giving us that tremendous insight, really, and also, by the way, for reporting live from those scenes. I mean, there were numerous different times when I wasn't 100% sure. You should have been out there, really, actually. So thank you very much. And, but yes, OK, let's go to the audience. I think there's a gentleman there. Is it Gary with the microphone? What would you like to say? You know, I think the initial topic question was clearly about the grooming gang. So presumably it's on that. Go on. What would you like to say to the panel?
Yeah, I think we should deport as soon as we can. As a British taxpayer, I believe we shouldn't pay to keep those people here. In what was said, I think there's a bribe being taken between Pakistan and the UK in that with the Pakistan Airlines, if we start the flights again, they can be and then they can be deported back to Pakistan. But I feel as though it might be a vicious circle in that you get offenders coming across again on the airlines and could repeat offend. And what issues would it cause for law enforcement and immigrations when it comes to... Yeah. Well,
it's a nightmare, isn't it? And look, hey, at the moment, I'm obviously at pains to stress that there's supposedly no link between Pakistani International Airways and these negotiations, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'll go, Christo. There's surely a way we can get these monsters back to Pakistan, isn't there?
Well, I just don't understand how you're able to renounce your citizenship while you're in the criminal justice system. I didn't know that you could do that, because that's what these guys did, meaning that Pakistan can say, well, we don't want them. And you're right to point out that on the surface there isn't this link, but let's not also forget that the reason that the Civil Aviation Authority found that Pakistani International Airlines shouldn't have its licence is because they were concerned that pilots were falsifying their flying licence. So we could end up with a pilot who's got a moped licence flying over densely populated areas in order for to deport racists.
Coming to a Deliveroo near you. Charlie, the obvious solution, I think, is stop all foreign aid and strip them of visas, I would have thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, one would think that we would have the means to punish Pakistan for not doing this, which is, as you say, stopping foreign aid, taxing remittances, all of this sort of thing, because, you know, billions and billions of pounds go across to Pakistan every year in remittances. But I also think that there is a solution to this problem of people renouncing their citizenship, which is to make a deal with a third country, like, for example, Rwanda, who would be quite happy to give them citizenship. Because making somebody stateless, it's pretty immoral, because you open them up to persecution and exploitation. But actually, if a third country that we just chucked, you know, billions, maybe rerouted some of that foreign aid to, chucked billions of pounds at to take these people, you solve that problem overnight.
All right, well, look, I'm very sorry. We're going to return to this topic a little bit later on in the show. We are going to have to whiz ourselves on now at the moment, I am afraid. But, by the way, just a big thank you to Doogie BT, everybody. We're always like trying to do something a little bit different here, so there we go. But coming up next, OK, what would you fellas do in this situation? Leave them there. Anyway, so a debate rages online over whether or not women should basically be given seats by men on busy trains. Is it feminist entitlement or is it old-fashioned chivalry? I'll see you in 2.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello, everyone. Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Jewell, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GBNews family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's News Channel.
off online after a video went viral showing young men on the London Underground refusing to give up their seats for women. So I'm going to talk over this clip now. So basically, it's just what it says on the tin. There's women standing up, there's blokes sitting down, they're not offering them their seats. So the caption apparently is that men used to go to war for us, and now we can't even get a man to let us sit down on the train. Well, I mean, none of those women I don't think were... I mean, I can't really see that clip, so I might be about to say something awful here, but I don't think any of those women were, like, disabled or pregnant, or from what I could see. So, like, do you really... or that old? Like, do you have to offer them your seat? I don't know. Does you think... just feel for the room here. Does everyone think that if you are a bloke, you should just always give a woman your seat? No. Oh, all right, fair enough. OK, so there's a lady there who'd like to make a point. So go on. Should they be offering seats?
Well, I'm very old-fashioned, so I say yes. But I have also arthritis, so I can't stand for long periods. And tonight, coming into Paddington, did I get a seat? Did I heck?
No.
Men were just sitting there drinking and doing whatnot, so...
Right.
So, yeah, I do believe if you've got a disability, pregnant, absolutely.
OK, fine. Bit of a minefield. Well, I mean, if only there was a woman on the panel that I could go to here. Jane, how do you feel about this?
Are you presuming I'm a woman?
Well, I hope so, yes.
I went to an all-girls grammar school. It was in our school rules. If you got on the bus, if anyone that wasn't a pupil got on the bus, you gave up your seat, whether that was a woman, a man, anyone. So if it's a matter of respect, I think. Still, I would get up if I saw someone who looked like they needed the seat more than me. And that is galling, because I'm getting on a bit now. No. If you see a 20-year... No, but if I'm standing by a 20-year-old lad who's sitting there spreading all over everybody else's seat on the tube, and it's me that gets up, it doesn't feel entirely...
Right, OK.
The right order of pecking order on the tube, but I don't think it's you don't have to now.
Well, firstly, sorry, Christo. Charlie's a young man, so I'm just going to go for you. What do you think, Charlie?
Well, OK, a few points here. First one is I actually do try and make an effort to give up my seat on public transport when there is what I'll call a woman of a certain age standing up, because, and I'll tell you why that is, it's because, and maybe this is a weird, like, Gen Z, like, gender relations thing, but if it's like a girl my age, I don't want her to think that I'm hitting on her by giving her my seat, right? So there's that.
It's a minefield. It's a minefield.
So that's one aspect of it from my personal experience. Another point I think that is crucial to make is that actually it is the orthodox feminist position to not give up your seat as a man, because that's gender equality, right? And then the third point I'd like to make is the fact that, you know, I seem to bring this into everything, but there is a demographic element to this, which is to say that we have imported millions of people from cultures that are very different to our own, which have very different ideas about chivalry and the way that we should treat women. And I'll tell you how that was evidenced this week. Figures from the Centre for Migration Control showed that foreign nationals accounted, despite being only 11% of the population, accounted for a quarter of sexual assaults. So these are the kind of people that aren't giving up their seats for women.
Christo, then Barry. Go on, Christo.
I mean, I don't know how we got to sexual assault from giving up your seat, but anyway, anyway. OK, I think hold open the door for ladies, do that all the time. My mum won't get out the car till I go around and open the door for her. My mum absolutely drummed it into me. I don't use the term women very often. I use the term ladies because I think that's more polite. However, ladies, you can't have it both ways. You can't, on the one hand, claim that you want completely equal rights, and then on the other say you can't hold up your own body weight for a train journey. Sorry, you can't have it both ways. So if you're pregnant, if you have a disability, if you have arthritis, fine, but if not, then you can stand up.
OK, Barry Gardner. Come on, Barry.
Listen, I don't think it's a male-female thing. I would stand up for anybody who I felt needed the seat more than I did. And I think that's just common sense.
A very politician's answer. That's a very politician's answer, Barry.
Yes. Is it safe for you to get public transport, Barry, as an MP?
You've just made it a lot less safe.
Oh, my God. Yeah, sorry, Barry.
There's going to be videos of Barry not giving his seat.
Barry doesn't get public transport, everyone. You know?
He does.
Oh, he does. Well, I don't know what's happening now. Anyway, right. Well, a much more serious topic. Unfortunately, we've got to talk about it because it's huge news and it happened today. It's assisted dying. That's a thing. I'm not sure where everyone stands on that. Also, the Iranian embassy, there were protests there. The Ayatollah basically turned up with his henchmen and decided to attack people, so not great. Are we now involved, as a result of this, in what's going on in the Middle East? And apparently there are 300 variants variations on the pride flag. We're going to work our way through a few of them, and I want you to tell me if you can guess what any of them are. There's a bloke on the front row shaking his head, who, by the way, has come all the way from Sydney to be here tonight, so what's your excuse? See you in a few minutes.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Plenty of weather to talk about this weekend. Saturday's another hot day for many, but not for all. And then comes the risk of some lively thunderstorms as fresher air arrives from the west. We've got high pressure still in control as we go into the weekend, but that's shifting east, allowing hot air to be drawn northwards across the UK. Certainly a warm night tonight, despite the clear skies. Temperatures widely holding up in the mid to high teens, and in some spots no lower than 20 or 21 Celsius. Chances of some thicker cloud and some showers coming into the southwest by dawn. Otherwise, it's a dry and warm start to the weekend. Those temperatures are soon rising, particularly through the Midlands and eastern England. That's going to be where we'll see the highest temperatures through the day. Some cloud, some low cloud hugging the coast of eastern Scotland, but it's a relatively warm start wherever you are. Now, we do have some cloud arriving into Northern Ireland, and it's in Northern Ireland, western Scotland, parts of West Wales and the southwest where the first signs of a change are arriving. A chance of some showers coming through, but the main activity really is at the end of Saturday. Ahead of any showers, we keep the strong June sunshine at its strongest on Saturday, the summer solstice, of course, and that will allow temperatures to rise widely into the high 20s, low 30s across eastern parts of the UK, and could be as high as 34 Celsius, depending on the timing of any cloud and showers arriving from the west. It's going to feel a bit fresher in the west, but still relatively humid, and then we've got these lively thunderstorms moving through overnight. North Wales, North Midlands, Northern England could see some absolute whoppers, causing all manner of impacts. And then on Sunday, the chance of some further heavy downpours into Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales before all that clears away, and a changeable week next week, but feeling fresher.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our viewers and listeners. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Happy Friday. How are you, mate? Thank you very much for coming. Great to see so many of you. Yes. Hello and welcome to my wonderful Friday Night Live studio audience show. Everyone is on good form. Well, tonight... There we go. Will we have any updates on the fact that Palestine Action attacked a British military base? Talking of attacks, the Iranian Ayatollah's henchmen struck on the streets of London today, and...
The ice to the right, 314. The nose to the left, 291.
Well, I'm very worried about this. Very worried about it. Britain is now a country where you can kill a full-term baby and maybe your nan as well. Also... I want to see how many pride flags you can all name, all right? So, a primary school has taught kids about the 300 flags of pride. But, yes, we're going to work our way through a few of them, as some of them are just absolutely insane. Oh, and Ascot got a little bit too much for these lads. Look, Cameron Walker's apologised for his behaviour, all right? And we will have to move on. On my panel tonight, it is the former Tory MP, Jane Stevenson. We have got the Labour MP for Brent West, Barry Gardner. Oh, no booze this time. Good, good, good. Political commentator, Charlie Downs. And broadcasting royalty, Christo Fufa. All right, get ready, Britain. Here we go. Don't kill your nan. Next.
Very good evening to you. The top story tonight at 10 o'clock, history made. That is how campaigners have reacted today as MPs narrowly backed a landmark assisted dying law for England and Wales. The bill allowing terminally ill adults to end their lives with medical sign-off passed the Commons by just 23 votes.
The ayes to the right, 314. The noes to the left, 291.
Cheers, tears and hugs filled Westminster as supporters called it a victory for compassion.
We won!
Kim Leadbeater, who proposed the bill, says she's over the moon, but the Bishop of London has called it unworkable and unsafe. Other opposing critics warn it's a dangerous step, rushed through without proper safeguards and driven by emotion over evidence. The bill now heads to the House of Lords, with any change unlikely before 2029. Donald Trump says Iran is weeks or possibly months away from building a nuclear weapon and claims Europe is powerless to stop it. Speaking earlier this evening in New Jersey, he told reporters, quote, Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe, they want to speak to us. He also cast doubt on today's Geneva talks, saying they didn't help, and warned it's hard to ask Israel to hold back. He's also hit back at his own Director of National Intelligence, rejecting her claim there's no evidence that Iran is...
My intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong. It's very hard to stop when you look at it. Israel's doing well in terms of war. then I think you would say that Iran is doing less well. It's a little bit hard to get somebody to stop.
Donald Trump there speaking earlier in New Jersey. Well, the Home Secretary is moving to ban Palestine action over activists who sabotaged RAF jets in Oxfordshire. Footage posted online showed activists inside the base, one riding a scooter and appearing to spray paint into a jet engine. Yvette Cooper is set to proscribe the group under the Terrorism Act, making it a criminal offence to support them. The move follows a counter-terror investigation today into that incident. Parliament, though, will need to approve the ban before it comes into force. Vladimir Putin has claimed today the whole of Ukraine is ours and suggested Russian troops could soon take the city of Sumy too. Speaking at a forum in St. Petersburg, he said Russians and Ukrainians are one people, and he justified the invasion by saying Russia is carving out a, quote, buffer zone for its own security. Kyiv, though, has dismissed the claims, calling Moscow's actions illegal and rejecting any shared national identity. It comes as Britain and its allies have vowed to crack down on Russia's shadow fleet in the Baltic and North Seas, with leaders saying they're tightening the net, promising stronger, united efforts to expose and block covert Russian shipping. The Princess of Wales has praised the life-changing work of the UK's children's hospices, calling them a lifeline for families facing the unimaginable. Kate's message was shared just days after she pulled out of Royal Ascot as she continues to balance her return to public life following cancer treatment. Catherine, who is a royal patron of 2 hospitals, said no parent expects to hear their child has been given a life-shortening condition, but that hospice care means they don't face the future alone. And the UK heatwave is peaking, with Saturday set to hit 34 degrees in London, already passing the heatwave threshold in the capital. An amber heat health alert remains in force across England, warning of pressure on hospitals and rising health risks. A yellow storm warning, though, is in place from 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Forecasters are warning of flash flooding, hail and lightning as heat and humidity triggers intense thunderstorms. And fire crews have also battled over 500 wildfires this year, up more than 700% on 2024. That's it from me for now. I'll be back with you for one more update at 11. Now, though, it's over to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
To my wonderful live studio audience, thank you very much, everybody who has turned up tonight. So, look, hey, I cannot wait to see how my live studio audience reacts to, frankly, what is one of the most controversial topics and divisive topics of all time. Now, I normally like to keep it a bit light here, but not really sure how we do that with this particular topic, because this week Britain did become a country where a full-term baby and the terminally ill can essentially be killed by the state. Now, earlier this week, this happened.
The noes to the left, 137. So the ayes have it, unlock!
Pretty much out of nowhere, abortion was decriminalised, even if the woman is in labour. And then, today.
The ayes to the right, 314. The noes to the left, 291.
So assisted dying is now on the menu if you've got about 6 months to live. Well, look, here are my views. Firstly, I think this is the lowest calibre parliament that we've ever had. I really do think that. And this bunch of numpties have just legalised mass killings. Right? What qualifications does Kim Ledbetter have? None. She was basically a PE teacher, and the only reason this vote came to Parliament was because it won a raffle. So now we are here. Thanks, Kim. Cheers, everyone. Wow, it's amazing that we've managed to do this because of her. Anyway, secondly, will it put pressure on the elderly? And that's a concern that I've got. We're all going to get old one day. Will it put pressure on the elderly? Third, will doctors start pushing it? I can see a world where they do start pushing it onto patients. They do start suggesting it because it unlocks beds and it saves people a bit of money. I do find it remarkable that within the space of a week, Britain has somehow become a country where you can abort a full-term baby and probably kill someone's nan as well. I didn't think we'd ever say that about this country. However, I do respect, absolutely, and we'll go to my panel in the audience, that there are a range of views on this, especially the assisted dying thing. There are a range of views on it. I'm going to go straight to the audience, and If people disagree with something here, put your hand up, put your side of it across, because there are very much two sides of this. Sir on the front row, what's your views on what's happened today, then?
Yeah, I find it really worrying. I think we'd all have sympathy with people that are suffering and are at the end of life and want to end their own life, but this is so much more than that. And I think whatever safeguards they attempt to put in to this bill, it's baby steps towards a culture change whereby it's going to be acceptable almost to coerce granny into not being a nuisance and to not being a burden. And oh, by the way, her house is you know, sort of to be inherited. It's going to be very convenient to coerce older people. And I just think it's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, that's very much one side of it, isn't it? And I think, can I say, so there's a gentleman there, you're shaking your head about that. Can we get the microphone to you? We'll go to our panel on this. Charlie, your views on the assisted dying stuff? Or...
So I think you used a word there that I think is crucial to this debate, and that is the word suffering, OK? Because so many people who are in favour of assisted dying say that it is a matter of dignity and it is a matter of eliminating suffering at the end of life, which at one level superficially sounds quite noble. But my perspective would be that suffering is a part of life. It's an unavoidable part of life. I'm a man of faith, and I do believe that suffering it's part and parcel of human existence. It puts us in touch with our fundamental nature. It brings us closer to our Creator. And I think that any attempt to eliminate suffering always inevitably just displaces it. It moves the suffering elsewhere and frequently intensifies it, because it was in the name of eliminating suffering that Nazi Germany murdered 250,000 disabled, mentally and physically, people. It was done in the name of alleviating the burden on families and the state. And the same was true of the Great Leap Forward in Communist China, which equally killed millions of people. And so this doctrine of eliminating suffering is one that always leads to, you know, the most unimaginable suffering.
All right. OK. I'm going to go to Barry before we go to our chap there, Barry, because you voted against assisted dying today, is that correct?
Yes, I did. But look, I do want to, because you were quite flippant in what you said about Kim Leadbeater at the beginning. I disagreed with Kim. I spoke with her on a couple of occasions over the past few weeks. I profoundly disagree, but she did actually conduct the debate throughout the entire time with real respect for both sides. And I want to put that on record, because this was a debate that divided Parliament. You can see by the eventual vote, the majority was actually smaller than people thought it was going to be. But people really did speak respectfully and tried to listen to what the other side was saying. Now, so you made the word that I would have picked out from what you said was coercion. 100%. And for me, 100%. That is absolutely critical to this debate, and it was a great deal of why I voted against the bill today. But I think also, I do understand, and look, both my parents died when I was a child, and both died of cancer. One esophageal cancer, the other cancer of the stomach. So I know what it is to see people at the end of their lives suffering. And I do understand the desire to alleviate that. And so I don't think that it could never be the case that we could legislate properly for this. But I believe this bill did not introduce sufficient safeguards to ensure that coercion did not...
And just very quickly, because this is really important, what are the potential pitfalls on these safeguards for you? What is essentially unsafe about it, potentially, quickly?
Oh, gosh. They originally said that there was going to be a judge-based control, and this was going to be the gold standard. That went out during the committee stages of the bill. They've introduced a panel. The panel has to have a psychiatrist on the panel, but the Royal College of Psychiatrists, I think, have said that they don't see it as being workable. So we may not even be able to get enough people to be on those panels to introduce the governance that we've said.
OK, there's just a couple of points I want to... Gentlemen there, so go on. So are you in favour of the assisted dying, then?
I understand all your concerns, I really do, but thankfully I've had no experience of this myself, but it must be absolutely awful to see someone that you know and or love to be in so much pain. So in that respect, I'm not only talking about assisted dying here, but in that respect, I agree with the way we're we're moving forward. But I do absolutely agree with you, Patrick, because you said it a number of times. We've got to be careful about the safeguards. We really do have to be careful about that so it doesn't get misused. So I think moving forward, we just need to make sure the safeguards are absolutely there.
OK, well, good point. Can I just say on something? Because the slippery slope argument is one that gets made. Now, I was talking to our very own Miriam Cates earlier, just in this office behind me here, and she made a point to me that I was not aware of, that in Belgium, apparently, they've introduced something like this, and then there was a 12-year-old girl who was caught up in the Brussels bombing, and she then, understandably so, said that she suffered a huge amount of trauma out of what she saw there, and the state euthanised her. They gave her the option. A 12-year-old girl. And I worry that that's where this could end up. And, you know, these are my concerns. But go on, Jo, what do you think? I don't know, are you in favour of it? Are you against it? Where are you?
I think this is a really good example of the challenge any legislator has, because legislation has to apply to every situation. And while I can imagine a very, very narrow bill that I could support in limited circumstances to end someone's suffering, you have to get the bill right, and I don't think this bill has got that balance right. And the gentleman at the front, you said it'll be coerce your granny. My fear is granny is going to coerce herself.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
So my mum would have wanted to pass on a nest egg for her grandchildren, for her children, and it will become the noble thing to do, that you check out, you're not a burden, and that's a horrible, horrible thing, because every hour that you spend with your mum or your dad is cherished by every decent person.
OK, all right. Go on, so grab the microphone. Go on, what do you want to say?
It is a tough one, isn't it? This is a real tough one. I mean, I watched my best friend die of cancer, and I have faith like you do on the end there. I do. But I watched him die of cancer, and that broke my heart. It really tore me to pieces. That was awful. But then, about like an elderly person then thinking they could be a burden, or family members maybe saying things because they're looking at pound signs. It is a real... I'm sort of in between on it. But I know that if I got cancer or I was terminally ill or something, I would want that choice. Definitely.
You would want that choice?
I would, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, this is the other side of it, isn't it? It's why it's so difficult. Go on, Christy, you're not saying it. Sorry, Charlie, I want to give it up.
OK, just quickly, because I agree broadly with everything that has been said. I believe in a small state, a small government. And if I have a terminal illness, I have cancer, and it is terminal, there is no hope for me, if I want to end my life, it's nothing to do with the state, in my opinion. So in those parameters, I agree with the principle, and I think that was what you were saying about those narrow parameters. What really concerns me is the safeguards. So, for instance, years ago I suffered with a really bad eating disorder, right? And I was not in a very good place. And there have been 60 women worldwide who have anorexia, who have ended up on a pathway where they have died as a fact of assisted dying, or that judges have ruled they have the mental capacity not to eat, meaning then that their body actually starts to shut down. So it becomes from a mental problem to a physical problem, and so then the physical problem gives justification for them to be...
And Naz Shah spoke about this. It would come under the scope of the bill.
And so that's the part that really sort of gets me, that it's people with mental disorders like anorexia and things I don't think are protected enough in this bill.
Go on, Charlie.
That's a great point, Christo, but there's just one thing I want to come back on that you, sir, said, and also you touched on. You said that it was awful awful things happen to people, and you watched your friend die of cancer, which is awful. But I think the question is not whether we have awful things in our societies, it's which awful things we have. And whilst it is awful to watch your loved ones and your neighbours suffering at the end of their life, what's far more awful and far more profoundly damaging for a society in the long term is the kind of society that commodifies human life and turns questions of life and death into a calculation, one that just, in terms of the impact that it's going to have on the balance books and the exchequer and all the rest of it. And this kind of society that does that treats human life in that way, is destined for destruction.
I know what you're saying, but we don't... What do you do with a poorly animal?
That's different. Human life and animal life are different.
But if an animal is suffering or a person is suffering, like I say, it's a real slippery one.
Yeah, but the conversation we're having in this room and all the points are exactly what everyone at home is going to be talking about, right? That's why it's important to have it. All of these points. Barry, go on.
Can I... You see, I started off at the beginning of when this bill was introduced thinking if exactly what you said, if I were in that situation, and as I say, I've seen it myself with my parents, I might want that. And then I thought to myself, well, how could I vote against something that I might want for myself if I were in that situation? But then I had to stop thinking as an individual person, Barry Gardner, and I had to start thinking as a legislator, setting a law for everyone in society. And that's where that whole issue of coercive control and safeguards came in. And I then could not support the legislation precisely because of that.
Well, we're going to have to move on a sec, but I think another aspect that we've not really touched on there is the idea, is it going to start being pushed a little bit by some doctors? Are they going to start saying, well, you know, look, this is the prognosis, you know, you could have this treatment, or you could do this, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
Barry, something really quickly. Barry, if the legislation was changed and there were more safeguards, could you see a situation where you would vote for it?
I can, but I would have to be absolutely rock sure, and it's not just the safeguards, it's actually the coercive control that you apply. It's what you said about not wanting to be a burden. How many of our elderly relatives have said, oh, well, of course, I wouldn't want to be a burden? We know it.
Can I just say, I intend to be the biggest burden ever on my family. I am going to be a nightmare. I am.
You already are.
I am going to be a total nightmare and a menace, that really annoying old bloke in the corner. Anyway, right, coming up. Thank you, by the way, everyone, for that. Can I just say, because that's a really difficult topic to talk about. It's pretty bleak, but it's the big news of the day, so there we go. Coming up, though, today, 2 people were basically attacked in London, essentially by the henchmen of Iran's Ayatollah, OK? So, does this move the dial now, as far as we're concerned as a country, about potentially following America if they decide to bomb Iran? We're going to be talking about that. Stay tuned.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Front page of the Times today says exercise proves the best therapy for keeping cancer at bay. Let's get the views of Tim Vincent.
It's quite an exciting trial, this. There's new findings every single day, isn't it? But I think this has been done over many years by a lot of people. And it actually says, what you'd assume would be the case is that if you exercise, then it keeps your health in a better condition and will keep cancer from returning measurably, notably.
Yeah.
So I think it's 30-something%. And this is on people that have had cancer and then are encouraged to exercise. And there's many doctors over the years have said, not quite sure. If you feel like you can exercise, then exercise. They're now saying you should exercise as soon as you feel good enough. Will make a big difference.
This makes me feel awful because I would have been pro-exercise, except I can't move. I'm in a wheelchair now, and I can't put on the right trainers, I can't change, I can't go to the showers, I can't do things. It's just I can't stand up. So there are a lot of people who are incapable of exercising, and therefore, rightly so, we see their increase of cancer growing.
Absolutely, and that's an issue that everybody's going to face, and you're obviously in a really difficult position. Any exercise, I think, is going to help, especially for these people that have had cancer once and can get out there. And it's very isolating as well, exercise.
So you're actually saying, if you're in redemption from cancer or whatever, you could keep it at bay by exercising.
It's actually better than a pill.
Yeah.
The results are actually better than a pill.
I think it's 36%, isn't it, for exercise?
Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Studio audience. Now, this actually, I think, should have got a lot more coverage, so that's why we're doing it anyway. So 7 men have been arrested today on suspicion of grievous bodily harm after violent scenes outside the Iranian embassy right here in Britain. Viewers will be able to see the aftermath on their screens right now. Horrific attack that took place outside the Iranian embassy here in London. Of course, this means that the conflict between Iran and Israel is now really right on our doorstep, isn't it? The Iranians got involved today here in Britain. Donald Trump said yesterday that he'll decide within the next 2 weeks whether the US will bomb Iran. Now, earlier this evening, President Trump spoke to the media, and here's what he had to say.
But we're ready, willing and able, and we've been speaking to Iran, and we'll see what happens. The material that they've gathered already, it's a tremendous amount of material, and I think within a matter of weeks, or certainly within a matter of months, they're going to be able to have a nuclear weapon. We can't let that happen.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
Bit awkward, that, to be fair. But anyway, right, OK, who here would bomb Iran? No? Yes? No? Anyone? Yes. Yes, people, some people. Who here wouldn't bomb Iran?
Yeah.
Right, oh, it was a mixed bag. All right, sir, on the front row, are you bombing Iran?
Only if it's absolutely necessary.
OK, so where are you on the fact that now maybe today what's happened on the streets of London, does that move the dial for you? We're now involved in some way or not?
Well, I think the Iranian embassy needs to be watched very closely. Because I've got a feeling they're going to be coming out with some sort of sabotage or other. And the moment they do, we need to insist that the embassy is closed and the officials are deported back to Iran.
OK. So your point would be, your question would be what we should maybe hold fire and bomb them if it's only absolutely necessary, basically?
We hold fire, yes, but I don't think we're going to be the only country that's going to be drawn into this battle. There's a lot of other Western countries and democracies that are also enemies of Iran, and they will come in as well.
Yeah.
I can see no reason for us in the short term losing maybe ships to help take out missiles, aircraft to help, missiles, drones and that, but not foot on the ground.
No boots on the ground. Right, I'm keen to hear from someone else on this as well, so get your hands up if you... I don't care what side of it you're on. I want to just stick the microphone to someone who hasn't spoken yet, if possible. But for that, Christo, bomb Iran?
When are we going to stop fiddling about in the Middle East? I'm sorry, when has it ever turned out well? When has it ever turned out that we have left a country better than when we started? When have we ever had an exit plan with Iraq, when it came to Afghanistan? When has us going into a country in that region made us safer? And it never has.
Yeah.
It never has.
Does it bother you that, all this talk about, will we, won't we? Well, I mean, the Iranian Ayatollah did kind of show their true colours today when they decided to commit grievous bodily harm, by the looks of things, on people who dared to protest out. I mean, that's the kind of people we're dealing with there, isn't it?
Yeah, and those of us of my age remember the siege at the Iranian embassy in 1980. I think the world is becoming more dangerous. I think Iran is everything. The interconnectivity between Iran and other hostile states is really worrying. The prospect of them getting a nuclear weapon, which, if it is, we're not going to send Tony Blair in to give us a recce on that. But as Donald Trump just said,
he might find one. You never know.
But Donald Trump, from that comment, it makes it sound like he is not prepared to take the risk.
Sounds like you're going to. Go on.
There is rumour now that Iran is being supplied behind the door from China.
Yeah.
Now, if that is fact, that's going to open the doors a lot more.
OK.
And let's not forget that Iran and Russia are strategically aligned as well. Why are we cracking this open? It worries me greatly.
But they're stacking up anyway. And they're about to get a nuclear weapon.
Are you not a bit cynical about the timing as well of all of this? It's I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. I'm not saying that Israel doesn't have a right to defend itself in any way, shape, or form, but it's making me very cynical.
You don't have to say yes, by the way. Don't worry, you won't be on camera if you don't want to. There's a couple of young lads that are now. I'm quite keen to see. Would you maybe be willing to fight if you were sent to Iran or something? Is there any? There you go. Oh. Was that you?
No, that was my. Excuse me. He wasn't the only one who got one of these. Christo just dropped the clanger.
It won't work again, Barrett.
No! It's all right. Okay, all right. Well, that's one way to take the edge off nuclear war.
That's how worried I am about war. When anybody's talking about pressing the button now, you know what they're talking about.
Only GB News could do something like this. Could we have? Go on, sir. Sorry. Go on. What would you like to say on that then?
I think at the moment I wouldn't really want to get involved. As a young person, I don't think that we are involved enough to be sending people like myself. You know, I'm 21. I think pretty prime age for people that we would be sending over there. As far as we're aware, and you know, a lot of people that maybe aren't as much into politics, what are they fighting for? I think that's the problem. People don't know what we're actually fighting for. As far as we're aware, as a country, we're not fighting for anything. You know, we're just going to, like you said, we're going to lose power. And what's the point, really? What's the point?
No, fair enough. Well done. Thank you, Max. I put you on the spot there.
Well,
go on. Yeah.
I would say it's quite clear what we would be fighting for, and that is the interests of Israel and the American foreign policy establishment, who have been frothing at the mouth for 20, 30, 40 years for a war with Iran. Like you saw, people like Mitch McConnell for the last 20 years have been wanting to bomb Iran, and the entire, AIPAC-funded foreign policy lobby in America have wanted this for decades. And so, to see Trump, who in 2015 and 2016 was calling out that same establishment for, wanting a war with Iran, now saying that he doesn't care about the intelligence and he wants to go to war with them no matter what. It's just extremely disappointing. It's a betrayal of what MAGA began as, which was firmly an anti-war movement.
Well, Barry, your views on this.
I think Charlie makes a very good point there. Look, what's happened here is we have Iran, who we all know is a violent, vicious state that is fermenting problems around the world. We know it has dedicated itself to the destruction of Israel, and Israel, who are guilty of the most heinous crimes in Palestine, and we have to acknowledge that what we see on our screens of what is going on there is desperate. What they've done is they have then distracted from that by launching the attack on Iran, which has now been countered. But they did so because they have intelligence that the level of escalation of the nuclear material is now up to 80-odd%, when in fact for civil nuclear all they need is about 50. So they are too close to acquiring nuclear material that could be used for a bomb, and if they were ever to get it, that would itself be disastrous. But the way to do this is exactly the way that the German, French and British foreign secretaries are at the moment trying to do it. They're sitting around the table, they're having a dialogue, they're in negotiations. Now, what Iran have said is that once the aggression stops, they will then negotiate. They need to negotiate now.
The thing that's going to be the big point, we'll have to move on now, but the thing that's going to be the big point is if we get massive credible evidence that Iran is literally, they are just definitely building a nuke, then I suppose maybe that shifts things slightly, but we'll have to wait.
We had that with the dossier, remember?
We
that
did,
definite credible evidence.
I know.
It was like a Jackie Collins novel.
Well,
it was such nonsense.
Alistair Campbell's nowhere near this one, so that's one. But anyway, but David Lammy is, so... anyway, right. Do you remember? Okay, all right, it's proving your point.
That was my Lammy reaction.
Yeah, that's all right, yes. All right, OK, whizzing ourselves on. Do you remember when school children were taught the 3 R's? Reading, writing and arithmetic? OK, well, anyway, some kids in Swindon are being taught about, get this, 300 pride flags. So when I come back, we're going to see if we can figure out what some of these flags actually mean. So don't go away.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The hot air that we've got across the UK on Saturday extends into France and Spain, but the chance of thunderstorms in these areas as well. Also the chance of thundery showers through Greece, but the islands should escape with sunny spells, albeit with a keen breeze. Through Italy, we've got plenty of sunny skies, but the Alps will see some lively weather with showers and thunderstorms, and those showers also affecting parts of Spain. But Portugal seeing largely sunny skies and plenty of sunshine through the outlook period.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Plenty of weather to talk about this weekend. Saturday's another hot day for many, but not for all. And then comes the risk of some lively thunderstorms as fresher air arrives from the west. We've got high pressure still in control as we go into the weekend, but that's shifting east, allowing hot air to be drawn northwards across the UK. Certainly a warm night tonight, despite the clear skies. Temperatures widely holding up in the mid to high teens and in some spots no lower than 20 or 21 Celsius. Chances of some thicker cloud and some showers coming into the southwest by dawn. Otherwise, it's a dry and warm start to the weekend. Those temperatures are soon rising, particularly through the Midlands and eastern England. That's going to be where we'll see the highest temperatures through the day. Some cloud, some low cloud hugging the coast of eastern Scotland, but it's a relatively warm start wherever you are. Now, we do have some cloud arriving into Northern Ireland, and it's in Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, parts of West Wales and the southwest where the first signs of a change are arriving. A chance of some showers coming through, but the main activity really is at the end of Saturday. Ahead of any showers, we keep the strong June sunshine at its strongest on Saturday, the summer solstice, of course, and that will allow temperatures to rise widely into the high 20s, low 30s across eastern parts of the UK, and could be as high as 34 Celsius, depending on the timing of any cloud and showers arriving from the west. It's going to feel a bit fresher in the west, but still relatively humid, and then we've got these lively thunderstorms moving through overnight. North Wales, North Midlands, Northern England could see some absolute whoppers causing all manner of impacts. And then on Sunday, the chance of some further heavy downpours into Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales before all that clears away, and a changeable week next week, but feeling fresher.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Okay, well, happy Pride Month, everybody. Happy Pride Month. Yes, lovely stuff. So, anyway, this quite frightening campaign to sexualise primary school kids shows no signs of ending. This is Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. How could we forget? But school children are being taught about 300 different LGBTQ+, whatever it is, pride flags. So I thought we'd do a little bit of a quiz to see if you can guess what these different flags are, OK? So I'm hoping that something's going to happen behind me here at some point. So let's do this flag, this flag, right? OK. Any guesses as to what we think this flag is? Anyone? No? I appreciate it's actually quite risky to start getting random things shouted out for the audience. So that is the non-binary pride flag. Oh, nice, isn't it? Anyone here non-binary? No. Okay. What about this one? Anyone? Anyone? What's that now? I think I know what this is. Because I could be wrong. Is this not the bisexual flag? Is that wrong? Because didn't David Lammy hoist it outside the Foreign Office? Anyone? Go on.
Oh, is it the polyamory flag?
Polyamory?
Ooh.
Let's have a look.
Something you want
It's
to
the
tell us,
omnisexual pride flag.
That's polyamory.
What's that?
Omnisexual. That's polyamory. Is it?
What is omnisexual?
Is it?
Omnisexual?
Yeah. Is omnisexual?
Omnisexual. What? It sounds like, don't they describe dinosaurs as omnivores? Well, I'll have sex with anything. I'll have sex with anything. I'll have sex with that desk. I'll have sex with that camera. And then when I finish that, I'll have sex with you. Anyway, right, OK. Someone's going to clip that up, aren't they? Right. Yes. Anyone? You got another one? That's a different one, is it? Oh, is it? OK. Oh, it's got a white strip in it. Any ideas, anyone? No? No, this is the gender-fluid pride flag. There you are. Oh. Yeah, what's gender-fluid? How is gender-fluid different to non-binary? Does anyone know the answers to any of these questions, seriously?
Gender-fluid means that you are... non-binary means that you reject the two. Gender-fluid means that you might change... depending on the day.
I don't really...
is gender fluid.
I don't really want to think about gender fluids.
Actually, Charlie, you spilt some gender fluid down here.
And there we are. We're in the gutter. OK. What about this one? This one? What's this one? Is that the flag of Thailand? No, go on, what is
I think that's polyamorous.
You're very good.
The drunken Palestinian. Yes, maybe it is the drunken Palestinian. No. So we've got a love heart here, and then that. What have you gone for? You went for what?
Polyamory, I think.
It's the polyamory flag. Well done, Christys.
That's not worthy of applause.
All right. I think we've probably got one or two more now. What's this? This one here.
That's the flag of America.
I know that one as well. But in fairness, I am the gay on the panel, so I probably should.
Yeah.
Is that progress?
No. Of course. So technically, it's the.
I think that's the pride flag, including trans and intersex people.
I think what that actually is, Christo, is it's actually the American
Don't do that again. We got in massive trouble with Ofcom the last time someone said that. Don't do it. OK. All right. OK. And finally, what's this one? What's this one?
1980s.
It's my flag. It's the straight man flag, I think. Yeah! Drape myself in the straight man flag. What?
No. That's the straight ally flag. It means you're an ally to the LGBTQI+ community. The straight flag is just the black and white one.
Oh, I wish I hadn't gone so big on that now.
So anyway, you've just gone for it as an ally.
I've made my bed, and apparently anyone's allowed in it. So there we go. Right, come on then. So. Right, do we really think that kids need to be taught about the 300 different variations on all of this? I mean, anyone? Barry, you look disgusted.
Look, I don't think it's right to laugh at people because of their identity.
We're laughing at the flags, Barry, to be fair.
Yeah, but the flags are a symbol of their identity. I have two pride flags, right? One is the Saltire, that is the flag of Scotland, and the other is the Union flag. Those are my two pride flags. But I see them as part of my identity, and I wouldn't want anybody to laugh at those. And so I'm sorry to be a bit of a downer on it.
It's a point, fair enough. Because obviously some people think, really, should we be teaching the children about the sexuality? It's different to go, this is a flag of your country. It's another one maybe for a child who's like 6 to be told, like, this is the, whatever it is, gender-fluid flag or something. I mean, Joe, where are you on that?
I think I would be surprised if there were primary children who didn't know that there were gay people or trans people. But I think going into the microscopic changes of which flag is for which person, that involves quite a lot of detail about quite grown-up things.
Christys?
Yeah, look, I think just to pick up your point there. I don't think we're laughing at anyone's identity. We're laughing at sort of the absurdity around the number of flags that there are and the number of identities that there are. Look, be what you like. I couldn't give two hoots, but I think sometimes when it comes to that many flags, I think that's when people find it a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But I'm not laughing at anyone's identity. Be what you want.
OK, go on, Charlie.
Barry, once again, I agragree with you. You know, we've got to stop agreeing so much. No, I do think...
Get a pride flag, you two.
I don't think there's anything wrong with using flags as a symbol of your identity. I mean, I'm wearing one myself right now. But there is a serious point to be made here, which is that I, for one, am just done with all of this stuff. Like, it's been so many years now that this stuff has been forced down our throats, and it's not like some, you know, it's not radical to be in favour of this stuff. This is stuff that is bought and paid for by the British government, and it's supported by the universities and the corporations and the media and all the rest of it. This is a state ideology that is being imposed on, you know, children, like young children. And I'm at the point now where I think anybody who is not a parent, not the parent of the child, who's talking to a child about sex and sexuality...
It's a bit weird.
They belong in prison. Like, it's not appropriate to be talking to people.
However... I will say, and look, I agree, anyone who's talking to a child about sex and those sorts of things is absolutely wrong. But love, and people who are in love, there is nothing wrong with a child knowing, at an appropriate age, that there are different types of couples that fall in love.
So if I could just... There is one other thing I do want to say about this, which I think is actually deeply insidious. And that is that there is as you pointed out, there's a heterosexual pride flag. And what that is, it's just black and white. And I think that is a strategy to make heterosexuality look boring and to look monotonous. Which, you know, you can make that what you will.
You can have a bit of pink in it if you want.
All right. Well, we're going to... Sorry, guys, we're going to have to move on because it's... I've got to read out a lengthy statement, I believe, from Swindon and Wiltshire Pride. They've got a committee. They say... During this Pride Month, we were invited into a small number of local schools to support their curriculum-led work around diversity and LGBTQIA+ relationships. Our support guide includes helpful information, links to support organisations and content written for all audiences. It contains no sexual content whatsoever. That's their views. Right, OK. All right, oh, gosh, yes, we forgot to do this. Now, people were asking who won the motorhome in the Great British Giveaway. Well, I can tell you, it's Paul from Sheffield, and here he is.
I've got some really good news for you.
Come on, pal. I'm always up for good news.
You've won the motorhome.
You're joking?
No.
Right, very good.
You've won the Elnag Baron 560 motorhome, worth over £67,000.
Thank you, mate, but I'm just sceptical, mate, that's all.
I can honestly tell you this is 100% genuine.
Right.
You've won the motorhome and you've also won £5,000 cash.
It has made me day, but I'm still in back of my mind, I'm like, too good to be true. Too good. Thank you very much for your call, mate. It made me day.
And Paul's here tonight, and he's on the front row in a white shirt. Paul, get up! Hey! Sheffield, by the way, it's not. It's not. He's just desperate to get on the table. But that man has come from Sydney to be here tonight, so thank you very much. That is amazing stuff. Well done. And the people from Wales thought they'd travel the furthest. Right, I've got to go. Sorry, when we come back, it's Greatest Britain Union Jackass time. Let's just do that. Go on, there we go. Way, well done, everyone.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Well, in the past few minutes, Meghan Markle has paid a sweet tribute to Princess Lilibet as she turns 4 today. It comes just a day after the Duchess of Sussex said she'd love to go into business with her daughter in the future.
Well, that's all it is, another money-making effort there. That's to make up for nobody buying her jam. I mean, do you really care if you see a picture of her kid or not? You do, that's it.
I'd like to see her face, to be honest.
I don't. Now, back to Diana, of course, who was the real star and style icon and whatever. And one day, I can remember, I complimented her on her outfit that she was wearing, and it was the same colour as the outfit you were wearing yesterday.
Bottle green?
No. RUC green, Royal Ulster Constabulary green, as she pointed out to me. She said, yes, RUC green, what do you think? And then she went into a whole, literally, sob story. She started crying about a bomb explosion there'd been in Northern Ireland or whatever. She was very, very close, very connected with all of that. But, yeah, so...
And knowledgeable as well, by the sounds of things.
She was very knowledgeable, yeah. And then she went on to talk about William and Harry going to school and how that upset her, and they went to boarding school or whatever it is. So we talked about all those things. And I forgot why I was going to tell you that story, but there was some reason. But she was... it was the same colour as what you were wearing yesterday, anyway, the green.
Oh, and she was so lovely by the sounds of things.
She was film star status. I mean, you just saw her in a room and you would go...
Wow.
She's special, yeah, she's special.
And I think whoever that was speaking in that report there saying, one of the designers, I think it was the designer of the wedding dress, saying it was just clothes or just a dress, but then Diana wore it and then it was something special. Absolutely. And it became part of history. And that's exactly what happened.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
The Great British Giveaway is now even greater, with your chance to win our biggest cash prize so far. A totally tax-free £54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Imagine what you could do with that. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash, so make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Welcome back, everybody. So, it's that time of the week again where we have to decide Greatest Britain, Union Jackass, and we're going to rattle through this one. Charlie, I'll start with you. We're going to do them both at the same time. So who's your Greatest Britain first?
My Greatest Britain is Right to Life, who have been leading the charge against assisted dying and abortion. I mean, am I doing Union Jackass as well?
Yeah, go on.
My Union Jackass is Dr Luke Evans MP, who, despite taking the Hippocratic Oath and calling himself a Conservative, voted for both.
Right, I see. A bit of hypocrisy there in your mind. OK, fair enough. Christo Fufas, go on.
Thank you for using my full name as well, the respect involved. OK, Sarah Robotham, the social worker, Maggie Oliver, the whistleblowing detective, Andrew Norfolk, the journalist who has sadly died since, and Charlie Peters, of course, GB News journalist, all of them for their work in whistleblowing and exposing the grooming gangs leading to where we are today with the inquiry. So that's my Greatest Britons. Union Jackass is going to be the people who went to Ascot today who got into a massive fight and were hurling stuff at each other. Vile, awful. Why go there and fight?
Yeah, also, he had a light-coloured suit on, which is now bright red. So there you go, one of them. But go on, who's your Greatest Britain Union Jackass, please, Jane?
My Union Jackass, I'm going to start, are the Palestine action people who went to RAF Bryce Norton and put our national security at risk. And my Greatest Britain, and I know this will please Patrick and Barry, is Diane Abbott.
Your Greatest Britain?
My Greatest Britain today. Because if you didn't see Diane's speech this morning as the mother of the house, it was very moving. She spoke up for marginalised people who will be coerced.
OK, fair enough. Go on, Barry.
Union Jackass, Alicia Davis, the model who advertised for a tanning assistant to rub oil in her back at £1,000 a week.
Whoa!
one wonders what other
How do you
services this
apply?
person provides. And the greatest Britain is Chester Zoo, because there are only 15 blue-eyed ground doves left in the wild, and they've just hatched 3.
Oh, there we go. Can I just say, because we are quite pressed for time, I actually would quite like to name a greatest Britain, and it's a lady on the front row called Jules Ward, who told me that she had a spare Oasis ticket going, and now I'm going to go see Oasis.
Oh, no!
Yes. There we are. Thank you so much for that. I've decided unanimously that it is you. Hey, all right, I'd like to thank my wonderful audience. Thank you so much for going to so much effort to come for us tonight, whether it's been Sydney or Wales or just around the corner or Richmond in Yorkshire or wherever you've come from, or Exeter. So thank you very, very much. Tremendous. And, of course, my wonderful panel. Really, really great to have you all on. But don't go anywhere, because we have got Patrick Christys tonight, late edition, where we've got all of the front pages coming your way, including, apparently, there's been a rape cover-up at an asylum hotel, which is new news, and we'll be telling all about it. All right.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Plenty of weather to talk about this weekend. Saturday's another hot day for many, but not for all. And then comes the risk of some lively thunderstorms as fresher air arrives from the west. We've got high pressure still in control as we go into the weekend, but that's shifting east, allowing hot air to be drawn northwards across the UK. Certainly a warm night tonight, despite the clear skies. Temperatures widely holding up in the mid to high teens, and in some spots no lower than 20 or 21 Celsius. Chances of some thicker cloud and some showers coming into the southwest by dawn. Otherwise, it's a dry and warm start to the weekend. Those temperatures are soon rising, particularly through the Midlands and eastern England. That's going to be where we'll see the highest temperatures through the day. Some cloud, some low cloud hugging the coast of eastern Scotland, but it's a relatively warm start wherever you are. Now, we do have some cloud arriving into Northern Ireland, and it's in Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, parts of West Wales and the southwest where the first signs of a change are arriving. A chance of some showers coming through, but the main activity really is at the end of Saturday. Ahead of any showers, we keep the strong June sunshine at its strongest on Saturday, the summer solstice, of course, and that will allow temperatures to rise widely into the high 20s, low 30s across eastern parts of the UK, and could be as high as 34 Celsius, depending on the timing of any cloud and showers arriving from the west. It's going to feel a bit fresher in the west, but still relatively humid, and then we've got these lively thunderstorms moving through overnight. North Wales, North Midlands, Northern England could see some absolute whoppers, causing all manner of impacts. And then on Sunday, the chance of some further heavy downpours into Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales before all that clears away, and a changeable week next week, but feeling fresher.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash, so make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law